Hello everybody, this is Abigail. I am Pinkstone Threads, at least that is what my shop is called. And that's what we're going with for now. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today I am going to be doing a 2020 year in review and my goals for 2021, which will hopefully be a much better year. This is exciting. This is my first time talking directly to the camera, so I might be a little bit awkward as I get used to it, but I just want to thank you so much for being here and for caring about, hearing about my business. So I do have some notes here that I might be referring to every once in a while, so if you see me looking down, that's what I'm looking down at. So let's go ahead and start with 2020 year in review. It's been a crazy year for everybody, and I am not exempt from that whatsoever. I had 3 surgeries this summer and 2 additional procedures, and let me tell you, that really knocked out all my energy for about 5 or 6 months. Between that and I was ill for 2 months at the beginning of the year. So it has just been a really difficult year on top of all of the coronavirus pandemic and quarantine and all of the economic considerations. It's just been a rough year. Additionally, I've had 4 jobs this year. I graduated college in May and I'm pretty tired. But on top of all of that, and the reason that we're here today is that I started my own business in 2020. And I think like most people, I just saw 2020 and being in quarantine as an opportunity to try new things or to practice old hobbies that I might not have necessarily been spending too much time on. So I definitely really got into knitting and crochet again. Not that I ever was not into it. I learned to knit about, I believe, 2 or 3 years ago now, and I taught myself how to crochet about a year and a half ago now. So I never stopped being interested, but I just got so busy going through school and working 2 jobs at that time that there was a period where I didn't really do any of my crafty hobbies, which was very sad. But after my surgeries and being somewhat bedridden for at least a couple weeks, and then having movement restrictions for a couple months in a row, I really relied on crochet and knitting to get me through that really difficult time, on top of being in quarantine and on top of not being able to go anywhere. I really dived into knitting and crochet, and I've got to a point in my hobbies where I feel like I really want to share them with the world. And so I started my own Etsy shop in mid-November, and I started an Instagram page for all of my crafty hobbies, mostly knitting and crochet. And I just really dived into it, and I decided that this was the point where I wanted to share my art, my creations, and I felt strangely and out of nowhere, I suddenly felt like it was art and it was worthy of people's attention and that I had good ideas, and that is very out of the blue for me. Because I'm usually someone that doesn't necessarily trust myself or see value in what I do, and I think that knitting and crochet has been a real boost of confidence and a real added value to my life, and I hope that I can help create that space and provide that hobby if you haven't really dived in before, or just, create a space of welcoming positivity and a space where we can admire each other's creativity and imagination and really bring that to life. So it's been only a couple of months, really a month and a half, since I started my store, and it's been about 2 or 3 months since I started my Instagram, but I'm already just blown away by the support that I've been receiving from the community, both knitters, crocheters, or people who shop locally or shop small. I've just been blown away by the support, the love, the positivity that has come my way through Pinkstone Threads, and it's really been just such a blessing, such a added value to my life, as I said before. But I really cannot say enough how much it means to me. Every like, every comment, and not necessarily that I'm measuring my value or my work by that, but it's just really, you know, something that I didn't think would get any support or really reach anybody. It has reached so many people, and, you know, being able to interact with their content, with your content, as well, has just been such an added bonus, because I don't actually have very many crafty people in my life. You know, I have wonderful, beautiful artist friends and family, and I do have some family that knit and crochet as well, but really nobody close by, nobody really in my close circle who I can knit or crochet with. I've tried to teach my boyfriend, and that did not go well. So we won't be trying that again anytime soon. But it's just been such a wonderful, wonderful thing to find this really welcoming and absolutely beautiful community who has just welcomed me in with arms wide open, and I just hope to do the same for all of you. All right, so now we get to the numbers. I won't be sharing too much of the specifics, but I will just be sharing kind of a document, a way to document this journey for myself, so that next year when I do a year in review for 2021, I can really see how far I've come, because I just feel like every month, every day really of this experience has taught me so much, and I can't believe how much I've learned in just 3 months. And I'm sure I'll feel that way in a year from now. I'll just be blown away by all the things I've learned, the ways I've improved, and hopefully I figure out this lighting situation at some point. I'm really grateful I got some umbrella lights for Christmas. Not sure how to use them yet, so we'll work on that. But for the numbers, so for my Etsy shop, I have 25 sales as of today. I have 6 5-star reviews, which, let me tell you, I think I cried for every single one of them. I'm so grateful. That just blows me away. And for my Instagram, I have 680 followers as of today. I've posted 28 times, and I've done 1 giveaway. So very exciting. I definitely experienced some rapid growth with Instagram that I never could have anticipated, but it just goes to show how supportive and loving and open and welcoming that this community is. Even though we've been far apart this year, we've all really come together, and that it's really inspiring to me. As for YouTube, it's been a rocky start. I have 7 videos and 1 failed attempt. So my failed attempt, I tried to do a 12 days of Christmas video series. So there would have been 12 videos with really short, easy, quick projects that people can make as presents. It was a failed attempt because unfortunately I had an iPhone 6 and I'd had it for quite some time, and it only had 16 gigabytes of storage, and I had blown through all of that storage, and there was nothing else I could delete at that point. And just, you know, to serve as comparison, they don't even sell anything less than a 68 gigabyte storage anymore. So that became a real problem. I didn't have any other camera. I didn't have any other way of recording. So unfortunately, despite all of my best intentions, despite actually being proactive about it, unfortunately I was not able to continue with that series before Christmas. But good news with that is that really forced me to look at the camera I was using and, you know, the technology I was using, and I decided to upgrade. So I now have an iPhone 12 mini, which is crazy. I've never had like the newest phone, and it scares me, but we're here. So on this phone I have 268 gigabytes of storage. So compared to 16 gigabytes, I think we'll definitely have some real space to not only do videos, but to, you know, continue into other avenues, other apps like Pinterest, and just take a lot of pictures and not have to delete anything anytime I want to add something to my phone. So that should be great. And hopefully next year I'll be able to round out the series or start a new series, whatever I decide to do. I'm sorry about about my failed attempt, but thank you for being patient, and thank you, Universe, for forcing me to actually get a nice phone, a nice camera. So let's hope it works well for me this year. And I also got a TikTok, which I'd never used before. I think I got it about 2 months ago. I had never seen TikToks. I knew it was a big trend, but someone told me that I should create a TikTok for my Etsy, because that was a pretty popular search term. That was a pretty popular video topic on TikTok. And so I have 55 followers as of today and 408 likes. I've been having a lot of fun doing packaging videos, which I'm surprised how fun they are, and I really enjoy watching them as well. There's just kind of something soothing and zen about it, which I never would have thought, but it has been a real joy to make those. And I have also done some shop update videos and some tutorials, but I hope to kind of grow my content and really find my niche on TikTok. I don't know if that's only packing videos or if it's something else, but I will definitely continue to make content on there. And so techniques, what I have learned this year, which has been honestly so much. What I love about my store, what I love about my Instagram, what I love about just sharing my work with you guys is that it really propels me to be better, to do better, to try harder, to try new things, and to go back and rework things if they don't quite work out. Whereas before I might have just, you know, packed it away under the bed or put it in my failed project bin, which has been growing, but since I started the store, I haven't put anything in the failed projects bin. I've always gone back, reworked it, and tried again. So I think I've definitely grown as a creator, grown as a knitter, grown as a crocheter, and I can't wait to see my progress continue. So thank you again for that opportunity. But this year I learned stranded color work, or fair isle knitting. I've done 3 hat and cowl sets at this point, so that's really exciting. I've crocheted a sweater, which I'm actually wearing right now. It's a bit warm with these lights on, but I'll go ahead and try to show you this a little bit. It doesn't have any buttons or anything. You just kind of fold it in. It's very large, a nice oversized sweater. And I did actually, this is one of the failed projects that I retried, and we can talk about that later, but this sleeve was supposed to be a waffle stitch. Didn't work quite as well as I had hoped. So I actually crocheted a sweater. I crocheted another sweater as well. I tried to freehand that one, and I don't think it worked out quite as well as I was hoping, so I might frog that, rip back, and try again. We'll see about that. Additionally, I learned how to knit Grandma's favorite dishcloth. So if you haven't knit one before, you actually you knit the triangle first from the tip up, and you're constantly adding on stitches, and then you're going to decrease down to a point. So that definitely taught me a lot of different techniques, different ways of doing things. I didn't even know that you could knit that way, so it definitely forced me to learn something new, and I'm excited to kind of continue on with increases and decreases in knitting, something that I've not really tried before. I've just kind of kept with this, square, boxy kind of knitting before. I've also learned different crochet stitches, including the waffle, basket, and moss stitch, among others. I really feel confident that I could do basically any stitch in crochet. because I've nailed those basics, I feel like. So I really would like to try to incorporate more of those unique stitches in my designs, in my products. So we'll see where I go with that. Additionally, I've really branched out and done a lot of freehand, I'm gonna say this so wrong, please forgive me, amigurumi. I think I said that right. Let's hope. So I've branched out, I've done, at this point, you know, 4, 5, maybe 6 plushies, of different style plushies. I've done, you know, quite a few of each, but I just went for it, no pattern, which is, you'll learn, hopefully if you stick with me, that that's kind of my way of approaching all things. I just go for it because I really want to understand the technique. I want to understand from the ground up how something works, rather than doing a pattern where I may only be able to apply certain techniques in certain ways, if that makes sense. So I'm definitely not a recipe or a pattern person. I would like to try to use patterns more often just so I can learn how to read them, so then in turn I can learn how to write them, because I would love to create patterns. I really feel like I want to create my own products rather than replicate those that have already been created, if that makes sense. Additionally, I did a granny square blanket. It's called the Cromwell blanket. I did actually write a pattern, which is more of kind of a guide to this granny square blanket. It's a Halloween blanket and it is on Ravelry, so if you want to check that out there, it's a free pattern. It was super fun to make. It's just a basic granny square blanket, but on the outside there's actually a pumpkin stitch that I created, and it's on my YouTube channel as well. So it's a crochet stitch that actually looks like a little row of pumpkins, and that's all the way around the blanket. So I realized after the fact, after I made it, that there's one other creator who has something similar. It's not actually the same stitch pattern, but it kind of does give the same effect. So I will try to add that creator in the description box of the video where I share that. For my top 3 favorite projects of this year, I would have to say that my crochet amigurumi squirrel is one of my favorites. I'll try to pop a picture of that here. It was a custom order for a friend who had ordered it for their mom for Christmas, and it was the first project I ever used safety eyes on or ever tried to create any sort of plushie or, you know, little cuddly friend, and it was really surprisingly fun, and I definitely found it a little bit hard to let it go at the end, just because it was so darn cute and soft and cuddly. So I might have to make one for myself. In addition, since then I've made amigurumi Yodas, baby Yodas, that are on my Etsy. And I've been playing with a few more things that will be coming soon, hopefully. Additionally, this my stranded colorwork hat and cowl, the yellow set, has to be one of my absolute favorite makes of all time. So I came up with this Fair Isle pattern on my own. I'm sure this exists many places, but I didn't use any reference for it. And so there are a few places where there are just some minor colorwork mistakes. So I think I will be fixing those with the, what is it called? Identical stitch? Brain fart. It's a stitch that makes it look like knitting. So I just might be doing that over the stitches that are slightly wonky. Of course, that'll come to me right after I'm done recording, per usual. But I love this hat and cowl set. I'm not usually drawn to yellow. It's not one of my go-to colors, and of course I haven't weaved in my end yet, don't tell. It's not one of my go-to colors, but I just really love the way that it works with the white, and it's just gorgeous the way it works into color work. So I'll definitely be using yellow again, and I might just have to take this set off of my Etsy and keep it for myself. We'll see about that. But I was really happy with how this turned out. I used Wool of the Andes for this. I think worsted weight. And this yellow color is called Semolina, so it's kind of that like pasta color. But definitely very happy with how this set turned out. As to other top projects, other favorite projects, all of them. All of them have been a lot of fun to make. I have so many projects that I've learned so much on and just been so surprised with the final result. I would say my Yoda hat and cowl set, my baby Yoda hat and cowl set, pretty proud of as well. My baby Yoda plushie, all of my Avatar The Last Airbender hats. So I have an Appa hat with little horns that's going to be coming back to the shop very soon, and an Aang hat with an arrow, stranded colorwork arrow. So many things that I'm really quite proud of. I wouldn't say that there's anything I've made thus far that I'm not proud of. My top 3 surprises for 2020. Honestly, number 1, obviously the support I've received from everybody. There has been so much positivity and support thrown my way that I'm just so grateful for. I have a wonderful friend group who has really supported me and actually surprisingly gave me quite a few custom orders, which I was totally not expecting, and I'm just absolutely grateful for. So, and some family members who have ordered some items from me or sent me supplies. The list goes on and on of the support I've received. I would say the second surprise is just the sudden confidence and pride that I had in my work. I would say right around October. October was probably the month where I suddenly felt very confident and proud in my work, and that came out of nowhere. So I'm just so grateful for that feeling of wanting to share my work with the world, wanting to share what I'm capable of and what I've done. So wherever that came from, thank you. I wouldn't be here, I wouldn't be talking to you if it weren't for that feeling. So I'm really grateful that that feeling came along. Lastly, I would say the third surprise is just the absolute calming, grounding, loving, caring feeling of doing and living out your dream. I can't believe that doing something that I want to do has this effect on my life of just, it's like a drop in water. It's just, this one little thing has affected all areas of my life and the way that I feel about myself, the way I feel about my life. It's been such a positive thing for me to have something to really look forward to, something that makes me feel worthy and valuable every day. That has been incredible for me, and I hope that you guys feel the same way in sharing in this hobby, that it really gives you something to be proud of, and you should be, because this is a challenging hobby to learn, and there's always more to learn. And lastly, the fails of 2020. So I wouldn't really consider anything a fail, because it was all a learning experience. I've learned a lot this year, and with that comes some fails. So as I mentioned before, the 12 days of Christmas was more like 4 days. But that, I wouldn't consider that my fault necessarily. I just didn't have the equipment to keep going. So that's just something we'll have to come back to at a different time. And then maybe possibly this sweater. So as I was mentioning before, I loosely followed a video tutorial by Carrie on this sweater, and I'm not very good with following directions. I'll say that to start. I'm not good with following directions, and I probably did something really wrong. But my sleeves ended up humongous, like crazy big, crazy long. I went back through, I thought I had the right stitch count, I thought I was doing everything right, but I think it's a multitude of things. So for this sweater, I actually used an Aran weight, where I believe the pattern called for worsted weight or even smaller. So that's mistake number one. Mistake number two was that I tried to do a different size sleeve for the body. So the body, I wanted to do the medium large, and for the sleeves I tried to do a small. And so I think with doing the medium large body, this sleeve extends up into the body of the sweater. So my shoulder starts here, my arm is here, and so I have that extra 5 or 6 inches of sweater that may not have been so if I had done the right size throughout. So trying to change things up from the pattern was probably mistake number one, or mistake number two. Mistake number one was not using the correct yarn. But so instead of doing a waffle stitch, I just went back, ripped all of that out, and just did a single crochet. I might try something else again, or I might just leave it as is. It's a pretty comfy sweater. The wrist is probably not as tight as I would prefer. And it does have a pretty loose wrist. And overall, it is kind of a strange fit. Like, it constantly wants to kind of slip down my shoulders and onto my arms. So maybe I should have gone up a size with the sleeves. I'm not sure what I did wrong still. Just the fit is really strange. So it might have just been using that Aran weight yarn rather than a thinner yarn. That might have been, you know, my fatal mistake. But it's still a comfy sweater. It's a nice around the house sweater. Maybe I'll get a shawl pin so I can kind of close it if I did want to wear it out, so it would stay up on my shoulders a bit more. I do have really sloped shoulders, so I do have kind of a challenge finding the right cardigan for me. They always just want to slip down my shoulders. I have nothing to hold them up. It just goes straight down like a mountain. But anyways, it was a learning experience, and I'll definitely approach the next pattern, the next tutorial, with this knowledge of, you know, if you change things up, you're probably not going to get the right result, Abigail. Anyways, and now for 2021 goals. So for my 2021 business goals for Etsy, I'd like to reach 100 total sales. So I just need 75 more for the year. And I think at the rate I've been going, hopefully I can keep that up and have over 100 total sales by the end of next year. I'd like to get to a 6% conversion rate. I know I've been pulling a large audience from my Instagram to my Etsy, and those don't necessarily convert into sales. So I might be a bit more careful about that. We'll see. I don't think any size audience is a bad audience. So we'll see. I'll have to look more into what I can do about that. I would like to average 10 views per day on my Etsy shop. And I've been getting much more than that, thankfully, for the past couple of months, but I just think that's a good kind of a bar to set for myself. As to Instagram, I need to create a link tree because everybody has one. I don't have one. it would be so easy to set one up. I just haven't done it yet. So I definitely need to do that. I would like to make over 36 posts for the year and reach 2,000 followers. As to my almost non-existent Pinterest, I'd like to reach 15 followers, and I need to post at least 10 times, hopefully much more than that. As to YouTube, I'd love to reach 100 followers. I'm not sure if that will be possible, but I'd love to just give it a shot and try. I would like to start podcasting. So maybe you have already assumed from this video that I would like to be doing a lot more face-to-camera, talking to you directly about all of my crafty hobbies. So hopefully I would love to start a podcast and maybe do about 2 episodes per month. Probably short episodes, but just going over my shop updates, new projects, new patterns I've been trying or trying to write, different things I've been doing, what I've been interested in. So I've really enjoyed watching podcasts this year. I've watched probably too many podcasts, if that's a thing. And of course, knitting and crochet podcasts aren't actually podcasts, they're vlogs, vlog episodes. But because you're knitting or crocheting, you do have that ability to, you know, look up at the screen every once in a while. So I think that's why we call them podcasts. I don't know. But I watched Nitty Natty, Sweet Tea No Shade, The Bearded Pearl, Grocery Girls, among many others, The Crazy Sock Lady. I've really just been diving deep into the knitting podcast world, and I love it and enjoy it so much. So I would like to be able to reach out to that community and kind of give back, maybe, if this is giving you guys anything. Whew. Also love the fat squirrel. I forgot to mention that. Amy, she's amazing. Anyways, so this brings me to my posting for YouTube. I would still like to do other videos, tutorials, or kind of knitting, crochet, general interest piece for this. And that was my cat. She might keep meowing. We'll see about that. But I would love to do kind of a reorganization of my craft office room and make it more shop oriented. You know, I would love to document that process. I would love to go back through all my frogged and failed projects and tell you guys and show you what I did wrong, and then go back and fix those projects. So please let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in. Nanny. Nanny. So this is the loud cat. She's very upset because I closed the door. Right? Poor little Nanny. Back to it. Additionally, I would like to launch a website this year. Something I've launched websites before, not for knitting and crochet. Something I know I can do really easily, and something I had hoped to already have done, but alas, alack, 2020 happened. Let's hope for 2021. And with that, I'd like to write blogs on all of my personal projects, and I just think it'd be a lot of fun to kind of have that documentation of what I've been working on. All right, that brings me to Ravelry, which I've been a little bit naughty about as well. I find it pretty hard to use, and I'm pretty new to it as well. So if you guys have any tips on how to use Ravelry, how to, you know, grow your contacts and get more of a sense of community out of it, I would really appreciate if you would comment that down below, because I don't really feel like I'm getting the most out of Ravelry as I could. I would love to meet people through Ravelry and do different things, but I've been finding it to be really hard. And I would also like to post all my personal projects onto my Ravelry, so I definitely need to work on keeping up with that as well. That brings me to patterns. This year it's my goal to follow to the T 2 knitting patterns. That's gonna be really hard for me as someone who hates following directions, hates following recipes, loves to just throw things in a pot, loves to just knit and be done with it. I would love to follow 2 knitting patterns to a T. It's time. It's time as a knitter for me to just get over this weird thing that I have, and because I know a pattern is going to teach me so much, it's the way I'm going to learn new techniques, it's the way I'm going to become a better knitter, so I just have to get over it and do it. And along with that, I would like to publish 2 patterns, whether knitting or crochet, probably crochet. I think I'm better at crochet, so probably crochet. Nanny, hey! Probably crochet, we'll see. And TikTok. I'd like to reach 200 followers and post over 36 times, so about three times a month. That's the goal. And as I mentioned before, I'd like to reorganize my office, add some bookshelves on either side of me to put my yarn on. I'd also like to get a new desk. The one I have is really big and can only fit in a corner, whereas I'd like to have one right in front of me here. I know you can't see the rest of the room, but just a rectangular white desk in front of me so I can do podcasts, videos right here. It kind of has the best lighting in the room. I don't know. That's what I want. That's what I want. And this area will become my recording area. Oh boy. But I would like to have maybe my logo back here, right there, maybe. And some fun stuff. We'll figure it out. Additionally, I would like to attend or have a booth at, that's the same thing. I would like to have a booth at 2 craft fairs. Hopefully successful craft fairs. We shall see. Hopefully 2021 will be a much better year for all of that, because I definitely didn't want to do any of that this year. So 2 craft shows in my local area, which is Indianapolis, Greater Indianapolis. Now she's in the litter box. Maybe we move that too. Additionally, I would like to upgrade and or acquire a square card reader for those craft fairs, because I do not currently have any other way of selling things other than through Etsy. I tried to make Venmo work, but for some reason my bank account wouldn't quite connect with it. So I'd like to get a square card reader and maybe figure out a way to do purchases online through that, and then obviously craft fair purchases, craft fair sales with that as well, because I don't want to be touching your cash. I mean, I do, but I don't. And I would like to get a better laptop or software, because my video editing software is very old. It is Microsoft Movie Maker, I think. It's not very good. I'd like to upgrade that or figure out a better way to use my laptop. As to my crafting goals, there are quite a few, per usual. This is a nightmare. Being very sassy, lady. Do you not like the sound of my voice? She doesn't like the sound of my voice. Who would have thunk it? I would like to dive more into amigurumi, especially getting better at freehand amigurumi and doing some human figures. I think that would be really cool. So we'll see about that. I would also like to learn how to do more amigurumi animals, whether via pattern or just different techniques for different shapes. As for knitting, I'd like to get better at color works, both stranded color work and other techniques. I've really only started to dive into that, so I know there's so many different things I could be doing. We'll see. I'm gonna dive headfirst into that hopefully this year. I would also like to knit a sweater, and I've not done it, and I'm very scared. Send help. I've been very scared to try to knit a sweater just because everyone says it's very challenging, and I trust them. I believe them. I'm sure it is challenging, but it's gonna happen this year. 2021, the year of me knitting a sweater. I would also like to try yarn dyeing. You may not know this about me, but it is my dream to own some sheep and have my own little line of yarn. I think that would be super cool. All right, maybe if I hold her, she'll stop freaking out as much. We'll see. So I'd like to start dyeing my own yarn, just for fun at first, and if I like it, maybe that'll turn into something else, but I would love to just dabble in it. Additionally, I would like to get better at embroidery. That would be fun. I would also love to do some sewing. As you can see, I have a sewing machine, very dusty, hasn't been used in probably 10 or more years. I used to sew when I was about 13, and I was really into it for a while, but you know, at that age you just kind of get into things, get out of things. So I never kept up with it, but I wish I had. So maybe this year I'll get back into sewing. But overall, thank you so much for watching. If you made it all of this way, through all of the cat screaming and craziness, thank you so much for watching. I hope 2021 is a great year for you as well. If you would like, please comment below your goals for 2021. I would love to know what you're going to be up to, what you're going to be trying to accomplish. And I believe we can do it. 2021 is going to be a much better year for everybody, hopefully. So thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to join the struggle journey through trying to live your dream, you know? Please like if you like this video, and thank you so much. We'll see you soon.